Hello guys, centre half here and welcome to a cheeky little video I am doing. Now if you weren't aware, I'm sure you were aware, but Steven Gerrard played his last game for Liverpool at the weekend, and this video is almost a testimonial to Steven Gerrard's career. Now I think we'll all agree Steven Gerrard's best game, not for individual performance, because I think there was another game for individual performance, but his best game, his probably most favourite game to be a part of, probably for anyone who played for Liverpool during this era, was this Champions League final in 2005, the comeback in Istanbul, the 15 minutes that shook the world, they called it, an absolutely phenomenal game, and I'm going to let Football Manager replay that game. I've built all the players and I've built all their stats. I'm sorry if some of them are wrong. If some of them are wrong though, please do let me know. So I'd like to get it changed. But I've based it off their attributes from old Football Manager games, from old football games, from posts of mods I've seen around. But I'd like to get it accurate, so if you think any of them are wrong, do let me know and I'll change it, and eventually I will put this up on the Steam database. I'd like to get a few similar series going on like this. Maybe if you want me to do another game, but we'll get onto that later. But this is the team I am doing. I'll start off showing you AC Milan. This is the team they started off with, and I think Liverpool had no chance when they saw this team. I was probably about 10 or 11. My dad was a hardcore Liverpool supporter. We were watching this on the TV, and this AC Milan team was just intimidating. This is probably one of the best teams they've ever had. It was definitely a golden generation. They've had plenty of golden generations, though, AC Milan, but when you saw the Liverpool team come up against this, you thought, massive underdogs. Liverpool are massive underdogs. But let's go through the players and how I've marked up their attributes. Dida played in goal. Phenomenal goalkeeper, an absolute powerhouse, very good in the air. He would just command that area, an absolute beast. Cafu played right back. He was aging at this point. I believe he was 35 for the game, maybe 34, losing his pace a little bit, losing his physical attributes a little bit, but those technical attributes were going nowhere. An absolute phenomenal right back, probably one of my favourite right backs. The two centre backs though, probably at the end of their prime, in their prime, very dangerous centre backs. Jaap Stam, the Dutch legend, partnering Alessandro Nesta, a phenomenal centre-back. Him and Maldini are my two favourite defenders, I'd say. I'd love Maldini in the centre, but he played left-back for this game, where he played a lot of the time in his career. These are his attributes. He was 36 for this game, pushing 37. I don't know why he's a girl, but he got the first goal as well. It was a little poor cross, little sort of a pass across the box, poorly defended by Liverpool, and he got the goal in the first 15 seconds, I believe. And at that point, your hearts were in your mouth. You thought, you know, we're playing this team of literally every player could be considered a legend in this team. We're playing a team of legends, and you're 1-0 down. You've got a disadvantage from the get-go. You thought you were out of it already. Andrea Pirlo, he still plays in Italy, still a phenomenal player. I've changed his attributes a bit to make him a bit more energetic, to try and replicate him as a younger player. Gennaro Gattuso is probably a midfielder you'd always want in your team. He would absolutely secure that midfield, an absolute dog, an absolute pit bull in midfield. And then Clarence Seedorf, a bit more gracious than Gennaro Gattuso. Did I say Cambiasso before? Yeah, Seedorf a bit more gracious than Gattuso. Very, very elegant player, who played on the left-hand side of that diamond midfield that Ancelotti decided to play with. And then Kaká, playing as the Trequartista. Again, at 22 years of age, everyone was hyped about Kaká. He was arguably the best player in the world. Everyone was ranting about him being the best player in the world. He didn't reach all the hype that he was surrounding him. But again, an absolutely phenomenal player. It's a shame he did not reach the hype that everyone was expecting. But at 22 years of age, he was hard to stop. And then up front, you had Andrei Shevchenko and Hernan Crespo, who got the latter two of AC Milan's first 3 goals in the first half. On the bench, Abbiati, Costa Curta. Pause if you want to have a deeper look at any of these, of course. And we'll go back and have a look. Kaká Kaladze. They had so many great defenders, didn't they? Kaká Kaladze, Costa Curta, Maldini, Nesta, Stam, Cafu, all world-class defenders. They had this guy who I wasn't really sure of, but he played in the World Cup, Vikash Dorasu. He was also Indian, I believe, or some sort of Hindi country, I believe. Sorry if I'm wrong. Never really heard of him, but apparently he was a decent player. He got called up for the French squad Maybe I've just forgotten. Maybe my memories let me go. So I'm sorry if his attributes are awful, because I really do not know much about him at all. Rui Costa. Again, I think he was quite old for this Champions League final. John Dahl Tomasson, a Denmark legend, a phenomenal legend. He was on the bench for AC Milan, and of course Serginho, who was aging, unfortunately, at this time of his career, losing a few of those physical attributes on him. So, but of course, they did make certain substitutions. I believe Tomasson, Costa and Serginho came on, but I'm not going to replicate the substitutions, because if the game goes another way, of course, Ancelotti would not make the same substitutions, and the same from Rafa Benitez. But this was the AC Milan team, 3-0 up at half-time, and this team was looking very, very dangerous. But Rafa Benitez was not having any of it. As we go and have a look at that Liverpool team. Oh dear. The Liverpool team that stunned AC Milan. This is the team that started off. Jerzy Dudek in goal. Blinder of the game. We'll get on to what Jerzy Dudek did in a minute. Steve Finnan at right back. Never really shone out. Never really renowned as a world-class player, or even a top player, or even a top player, but he really was consistent, and he done a good job for Liverpool, I think. Jamie Carragher in his prime in defence, alongside an experienced legend, Sami Hyypiä, who probably a lot of Liverpool fans do miss at the moment. I loved watching Sami Hyypiä. Absolute brick shithouse. And then you had this boy, Jimmy Traore, who played sort of a left back who came narrow when Risa dropped back. It was a very weird formation. I think Benitez was very worried about how AC Milan were going to play. John Arne Risa playing as sort of a wing back, a defensive left midfielder, and then this was what made the team so good. The spine of this team was phenomenal. Not only have you got Dudek, who played phenomenally, Hyypiä and Carragher in defence, you had Alonso and Gerrard in midfield. Prime Gerrard, 24 years of age. This is the guy who's left Liverpool at the weekend to go to America. He played his last game for Liverpool. A phenomenal lad, phenomenal player. He scored plenty of goals in his time, and he played alongside Xavi Alonso. Mouth-watering partnership. And when Mascherano was in that team as well, Jesus, that was a beautiful team. A very beautiful team. And then you got the Spaniard, Luis Garcia, on the right-hand side. Harry Kewell didn't really get to play this game. He went off injured early, I believe. He was meant to start behind Milan Barros, who was the lone striker for Liverpool. A young Milan Barros looked very exciting as well, but unfortunately he didn't reach his hype as well. He had 3 seasons at Liverpool, didn't really score many goals, as you can see here. This was the season that he, of the Champions League final, he scored 9 goals in the league, 26 appearances, and it was actually his last game for Liverpool, the Champions League final, I believe. So, not a bad way to sign off your Liverpool career. And on the bench, you've got a young Scott Carson, who's 18 years of age. Igor Biscan, who was literally a utility man, could play anywhere in defence or midfield. Never really found his footing because of so many injuries, which was a shame. But he did look a very versatile player. Josemi never really got his career going, but I don't know why. Rafa Benitez loved him. He was always on the bench. He got a few runnings, but he was nothing special. And man, Liverpool legend as well. His career sort of declined quite early on, I think. Let me know if you disagree, but I thought his career declined early on. This was his last season for Liverpool, I think, before joining Man City. Oh, he had one more year, but he only played 17 games. But his career sort of took a downward spiral after the Champions League final, and he was starting to decline quite early. Did he have a lot of injuries? Is it going to tell me this? I should know this. No, it's not going to tell me his injuries. But yeah, it's a shame. Dissima Hamando was such a very useful player. Antonio Nunes, one of Benitez's Spaniard signings, who was arguably a flop signing, but he's doing well in Spain at the moment, I believe. He's kept going. He's hasn't really aged much. He's doing not too bad in Spain. Let me know if you know a bit more about Antonio Nunes and how he's done. Has he done better since he left Liverpool? And then this guy, Vladimir Smicer, along with Djibril Cissé on the bench, a young French legend. So that was the team that Benitez fielded to start the game against AC Milan. Now, after went 3-0 down, Kewell had gone off injured. A lot had to change, and Steven Gerrard, Liverpool legend, rose up with a header. buried it into the top right-hand corner. And I'm actually at 3-0 down. It was half-time. I was watching it with my dad, hardcore Liverpool fan. And I thought, I was only young, I was about 10 or 11. And I said, yeah, it's over, Dad. Look, you're playing a team of legends. I'm going to go play my PS2. So I went into the other room to play my PS2. A few minutes after the second half started, I heard my dad scream. I went out. Steven Gerrard had scored a banging header. He rose up absolutely like a salmon, jumping about 10 foot in the air to bury, to sink his spam on that ball and bury it in the top right hand corner. A beautiful goal from Steven Gerrard. And then I believe Vladimir Smicer picked it up from a pass from Didier Hamann and just walloped it, and it skimmed along the bottom of the floor and hit that bottom left hand corner perfectly. Any more and it would have hit the post. Didier had no chance to get a hand on it as Jack Stam winced out of the way as he didn't want to be walloped with that ball. And then finally it was a penalty. And I heard my dad scream again, and he said penalty, and I went out to watch it, and I was like, oh my God, I did not believe him when he screamed the 2 times. He was telling me at half time, now get back into it. I told him he was mental, and Xabi Alonso stood up, took the penalty, and he smashed it, and Dida saved it, and for that brief 3 seconds you thought to yourself, that's it, that was our chance to get back into this game. We've lost it. All these thoughts were going through your head in the 3 seconds it took until Xabi Alonso ran up to the ball and buried it into the roof of the net, get on the rebounds, and you thought, we are back into this. You thought you were out of it at that point. You thought you were out, but Xabi Alonso amended his mistake. He probably wouldn't have lived with himself if he didn't come up and sort that mess out, but he buried that goal and Liverpool were back into it 3-3. And after a few phenomenal saves from Dudek, the heroics came from Dudek making a save and eventually a save from Shevchenko in a penalty shootout to give Liverpool the Champions League title. A phenomenal game. We're going to replay that, see how it plays out. I think AC Milan are arguably the favourites. I think it might be a Muller in, but it's going to show how easy it was for AC Milan because this was a phenomenal team. If AC Milan beat this team 5-0, 6-0, it really shows, it's really an amen to how well this Liverpool team did to get back into that game. But yeah, the next episode will be up in a day or two. Tune in for that one because I will actually be playing the game on Football Manager, seeing if Liverpool will be able to win it. That's the end of the episode, guys. I will see you later. And let me know what you think the score will be. Predictions in the comments. I will see you later. Bye-bye.